many of you have been to places like this? All of you should be raising your hands because you live in Colorado. Now, imagine them like this. I never got interested until 2 years ago in how fish affected the environment because I went to a trout unlimited fly fishing and conservation camp. While there, I learned about the 3 biggest ways that humans affect fish and which affect the environment. First is trash, second is overfishing, and the third is invasive species. I went back to camp the next summer. While there, we helped clean up a net from a river. There was a professional guide who had been guiding for more than 20 years. According to him, according to the fish per mile ratio of that river, that was the amount of fish in the net that was dead was a fifth the population for that mile of river. That got me further interested in net fishing, which led me to bycatch. Bycatch is where you catch a species that you're not intending to catch, including seals, dolphins, turtles, humans, and whales. This can lead to death because it can cut through their skin as it tightens. And then things such as the equilibrium in the ecosystem being affected. When you remove dolphins, turtles, that affects how the ecosystem is in play because when you remove a predator, then all the prey fish populations start going up. And then they start eating all the food. This can lead to overfishing. Overfishing is defined as where you catch more fish than what the environment can handle. Examples of this are the Yellowstone cutthroat, which was in Colorado. It's extinct now because of overfishing. Another example of an endangered species is the greenback cutthroat trout. This leads to invasive species outcompeting native species for food, breeding territory, and just territory in general. It doesn't have to be just animals. It can also be plants, such as the Russian olive. While at camp, I learned that the Russian olive needs 300 gallons of water per day to survive. That's 109,500 gallons of water per day for each year. According to waterusage.gov, humans use an average of 80 to 100 gallons of water per day, and fish need water all day to survive. So each day, each of these trees, this tree, all the way down the river, each use 300 gallons of water that humans and fish can't use. So it doesn't just affect the fish, it also affects humans. It can be animals. The Asian carp family, such as the silver carp, the grass carp, the bighead carp, and the black carp, the rainbow trout, and the brown trout, are all not native to Colorado. They were put here on purpose, like the water they live in. So in Asia, they live in really clean water, so they taste good, but here they live in dirty water, so they don't. But they were put here because they tasted good. We just didn't take care of them. Rainbow trout and brown trout were put in the water because they provide good sport for fishermen. They're easy to get, and they populated fast, and they're good eating. This can lead to interspecies interactions, such as the tiger trout, which should never have happened, but the tiger trout is one of the most aggressive fish in the world. It only grows teeth if it grows over 30 pounds, but it can grow teeth. It's on top of the northern pike, the walleye, and a couple of other fish. It also has the cutbow. The cutbow is a cross between a cutthroat and a rainbow trout. This fish can grow very fast, and it's a big predator because rainbow trout are ambush predators. But it also has the instincts of a cutthroat trout, which give it an advantage in the Colorado streams, and the growth rate of a rainbow trout. So it can grow really fast, and it knows what to do because of instinct. And according to WWF, fishing line takes 600 years to degrade. It takes the same amount of time for plastic to degrade. Recently, there was a fishing line that came out that only took 5 years to degrade. That's a very big improvement, but it's a long time. The bad thing about this fishing line is that it takes it's more expensive. So people don't want to spend more money than they have to get something that they could get for cheaper, even if it means helping the environment. Now, how many of you have ever been fishing? Okay. How many of you have kept the fish? Okay, on average, America, or all around the world, more than 109 million tons of fish are caught each year. And 30% of that report is missing. So that's according to the fishcatch.gov. And each year, 30% of that isn't recorded. So that's because of poaching, unreported catch, and things like that. But that means in each year, that means 10 million tons of fish thrown back in the ocean dead each year. This leads to unhealthy ecosystems, such as the garbage patch and the photo I showed you. It's called a fish kill. This leads to the water it's in to lose oxygen, and algae starts growing. Also gets rid of oxygen, and it starts taking over whatever body of water it's in, and it gets rid of all oxygen in the water, which means fish can't breathe. And then that affects the ecosystem because then all the fish are removed, which means anything that depended on the fish is going to die because, such as eagles depend on fish in some bodies of water, but they depend on the fish, and then eagles can't get their fish because they're all dead. But it can also lead to disease. Disease affects the whole entire environment because if a fish has a disease and it dies off, then whatever eats the fish is going to get the disease and it dies off, and then it goes all the way down the food chain, including detritivores. Because once the detritivores decompose the dead animal, they get the disease, and then pretty much the whole entire ecosystem is just bare. But a couple examples of overfishing is not overfishing, but like when you remove a predator, is in Yellowstone National Park. It happened twice. Or when they introduced lake trout. Someone introduced the lake trout into the lake there, and it just started eating all the cutthroats in there. And now they can't get it out because to get them all out, they have to electrocute the whole lake or put like poison in it, which would not kill the lake trout, but all organisms in there. And then also in Yellowstone, when they removed the wolves, there was the population of moose and deer populations went up, which led to them eating all the vegetation, led to them not getting enough food and then starting dying off. This also affected other herbivores because they couldn't eat, and then they started dying off, and it went all the way down the food chain. My question to you is, how can you help in any of these three categories? Thank you.